I set up an AI system that acts like a full design studio, a system that stays consistent and on brand for all my design material, including websites, social media posts, and animations. Now, Claude Design does this very well, but it gets very expensive. When I kept running into usage limits, I started wondering, could I recreate the same Claude Design experience in ChatGPT? And what I achieved is an entire branding system that keeps all the assets and material connected without having me explain the brand every single time. And it's a system that has a guided experience. It also gets more powerful the more I use it. It works on my computer with the ChatGPT app, and the best part is that everything is saved locally. So I can switch to any other AI and it will have the same context. I'm not locked into one AI provider. After testing the workflow many times to improve it and for filming this video, I never ran into usage limits with the ChatGPT $20 plan. So in this video, I will build a complete brand from scratch and you will see the whole process in action. Then you can tell me if ChatGPT can actually replace Claude Design. If you're new here, my name is Jad. I've been a product designer for over 10 years and I help people use AI effectively and creatively to avoid the slop we're seeing everywhere. Now I'm gonna use this system to build an entire coffee brand from scratch. AI gave me a name, I'm gonna call it Moro. It probably already exists, but this is just an example for this video. To begin, I will open the Codex tab in the ChatGPT app. Then start a new project. The full setup is contained in one folder that's available to download on my website. I made it completely free for you guys, my YouTube subscribers. No gatekeeping at all. Now I will place this folder somewhere on my computer where I want this project to live. And in the folder, there's an agents.md file. This tells Codex how to behave across the whole project, how to respond to requests, how to stay on brand, and how to keep the project folder organized. Now, if you already have a logo or brand assets or visual inspiration, you can add them to the assets folder. I collected a few branding references from the web, so I'm gonna drop them into the assets folder, in the inspiration folder. And I'm starting this project from scratch, so I don't have a logo yet. Now I can drag the project folder into Codex so it knows where I'm working. Once it's set up, every new thing I generate will start from the same set of directions and everything stays organized in the local folder. At this point, I could ask it to create a logo immediately, but I usually prefer to define the design system first. That gives me a clearer look and feel of the brand before I design the brand logo. Now inside the folder, there's a prompts folder. One of those prompts contains the full instructions for building an interactive, editable design system, similar to the experience you get with Claude Design. So I don't need to paste a huge explanation into the chat. I can simply tell Codex to build a design system using that prompt. And it will automatically look at the inspiration files that I just added. Now before it starts building, it's going to ask me a series of questions to refine the direction. And all I have to do is select the answer that I want and click Add to Chat and then send it. This is how you quickly answer questions without typing. Then I'm going to repeat that for the remaining questions. Now it gave me a summary for everything that we agreed on, so that I would approve it before it starts building the design system. I'm gonna say approved. Okay, now it's working, but I just gotta mention that these answers that I gave are the essence of this whole workflow because I don't want AI to make decisions on its own. So these answers to the questions are very important. And now Codex worked for 22 minutes and this is what it produced. I can view the full design system inside Codex or open it in a browser. Everything it generated is also saved in the project folder. And if you run into an issue where the page is not opening, just tell chat to fix it and it's going to adjust the access method. So you can look at your design system from inside ChatGPT or open it from the local folder on your computer. Here I have it open in a browser window. All I have to do is find the file inside of the folder. It contains both the design system and the theme editor. The design system is using Storybook. It's an open source tool for previewing design assets. It runs locally and doesn't require an account, and it gives me a visual page to inspect UI elements connected to the brand. It also generated brand guidelines inside the local folder. Those are the guidelines that any future generation has to follow in order to stay on brand. Then there's the theme editor. I can change the fonts, the colors, the styling, all while previewing the results live on the right side. And once I do the adjustments that I want and I'm happy with the result, I can export the new styling and attach it back into chat and ask Codex to update the design system. And whatever I do in this project, the system is actually carrying decision forward and saving them in the local folder. It is like a project memory. It's learning and evolving. Now that the brand has the source of truth, I can start creating the brand assets. I'll open a new task in the same project folder and ask Codex to design a logo for Morrow Coffee. It already has the design system and the brand direction and the inspiration. It also knows the process it needs to follow, so it starts by asking me focused questions about the logo. When it asks what I want in the final logo kit, I choose SVG so that the assets stay editable. But before generating the complete kit, I want to explore a few directions. The most useful workflow here is to generate the logo as an image first, then convert it to SVG. So I kept chatting back and forth to narrow down the direction that I want, and I finally got an SVG file that I'm currently editing with Affinity Designer. It's a free vector software that you can download, but it's great that I'm getting an SVG file that is fully editable, and it's a great starting point for the logo. But you might get something that is already useful right out of the gate, then you wouldn't need to do any manual editing. Now I modified the logo and I'm happy with it. I'm gonna give it back to Codex and tell it that this is the approved design. Now I have all the logo variations with different formats, icons, and versions. I can ask Codex to organize the project folder and treat this kit as the approved logo for everything else that comes after this. Now let's create a website. This is where the system gets tested. I started another task and I asked for a landing page in a fresh new chat, but using the same folder project. And again, it's asking me questions to narrow down the direction and the requirements. I don't need to explain the brand anymore. And 15 minutes later, I have a full website. It uses the existing design system and brand voice. It gave me 3 different placeholders for different coffee types. That's all based on my answers. And it gave me a concept section about the brand of the coffee and the shop at the end with the add to cart interactions, where I can click on shop set and there's an overlay for adding the item to the cart. And then at the end, I have the inverted logo in the footer. Now the result isn't perfect. This is one shot and I can still see a few minor layout issues that I would refine, but I don't need to rebuild the whole visual direction or explain the brand again. This is completely on brand and I'm completely satisfied with the design itself. Now, once I approve this, the next step would be making the website functional with a payment solution and hosting. Now the brand has a visual direction, a logo, and a website. So let's carry over the same identity into the marketing assets. I asked for social media posts, and here it's trying to use Adobe to create those templates. But I don't have Adobe, but if you do, you can continue with Adobe and it will give you the editable files. What I need here is the SVG files that are editable as templates and the images as assets. Now it gave me 3 results along with the image assets that are used in those designs. So I can immediately use these designs in my social media post. But the most important part is that now in my project folder on my computer, in the social media folder, I have the reusable templates. I can open them and edit them in Affinity or any vector software. Then I can make any edits that I want manually or ask the AI for any changes that I want. So right now I can switch out the images or change the images or change the text. Everything is now editable. So this system is not only creating images for you, it's creating reusable templates that you can keep using in the future with different content and different text. Now I'm gonna try different formats to see how this system evolves without losing the brand. I'm gonna start with print material. I'm gonna ask for a printable flyer, answer the questions, and I'm gonna show you the result immediately. Okay, Codex now gave me a PDF file and a Word file that is editable. I can send the PDF file immediately to print, or I can use the Word document and modify it and then export a new PDF version. Now everything is saved locally in my project folder. Now let's try asking for an animation. I'm gonna ask for a logo animation that I can use in videos or social media. And there we go. After a few questions, it gave me a really cool logo reveal. I can use this in all my video material. Now you can ask for a more punchy logo or a full screen animation, but This is basically the process. You can create anything related to your brand with this system. Now, one last thing I want to try is the presentation. I'm going to answer a few questions, then I'll show you the result. And there we go. It gave me an on-brand presentation based on my requirements. It gave me a completely editable PowerPoint file. So I can do any changes that I want, or I can ask it to perform the changes. And the pattern is clear. Everything is on brand. Everything is following the same set of instructions for my brand and for generating new material. And every decision I made gets saved so that the next project starts with those approved decisions. That really changed how I think about AI branding workflows. Before, I used to generate each design separately, and each time I would have to teach the AI about my whole brand. Or alternatively, I had to stay in the same chat for all the projects, which overwhelms the AI with a huge context window. So this system provides real continuity for a whole brand, and it's all saved locally. That's why I'm calling it a design studio. It allows me to keep everything organized and to edit the source files manually. And if I want to bring another person on the team or another AI, I am always sure that they will stay consistent and on brand. With this setup, the folder becomes the living branding studio. And all while never running into usage limits. So, do you think that this is a practical replacement for Claude Design? Let me know in the comments. And tell me if you're gonna try it. And most importantly, if you find any loopholes or any issues with the system, I want to know because I want to keep improving it. With AI, I always encourage everyone to experiment with the prompts and with the tools to find new ways to level up. And it doesn't really matter if you're a UI UX designer or not. And to help you do that, I created free guides on my website to make sure that you're following the correct methods for your design to turn out effective. And when you're done and you created something with AI, but you're not 100% confident with the outcome, I am more than happy to take a look at what you've created. I will audit it for you and give you prompts that will transform your specific UI into something successful, a successful design that does its job. And more importantly, a more human design, which I highly recommend. Because right now, human designs are standing out when everything else looks AI generated. So if you need a design audit or a code audit, you can submit your project on my website and we'll connect from there. I also have a lot of valuable workflows and guides here on YouTube to use AI effectively. I put a lot of effort into them, so I only make a few videos per month. I try not to cover the AI hype because I only want to provide valuable content. So tell me what you're interested in and I'll make sure to cover it. Anyway, it's good to have you around. See you next time.